Yeah, it was pretty wild. I ain't gonna lie. All right, guys, what's going on? Back again with another head-to-head debate. Today's topic, we're gonna do top 10 greatest tag teams / factions. I know in the chat thing it says WWE, but we're not gonna stick with WWE. We're gonna go outside WWE a little bit. You know, a little NWA, a little WCW, maybe a little ECW too. So, gotta have some other great tag teams that weren't in WWE. Because they have to be on the list. You all know the rules. I'm gonna let my guests introduce themselves like they always do. We'll start with Kyron, and then we'll go down to Conrad, and then Sean. I'll let Sean do himself last since she's new. So I'm gonna let Sean do last, and then we'll go to Kyron, Conrad, and Sean.
You know who I am. You know what I do. It's your boy Kyron Chase. Ready to start this debate.
I don't know why Kyron's laughing, but no, I'm laughing. Conrad Cushman, Everything Pro Wrestling. Follow me on Twitter at EPW Show. Thank you for inviting me, Malik. Let's get it in.
You already know what it is, man. Malik, thank you for the invite. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody on the show. Super dope to be here. Sean Hubbard, Hubbard Wrestling Weekly, HubbardWrestlingWeekly.com, all that good stuff. We in the building.
All right. So what I usually do, I'll let my guests go first so they can throw out. I'll let my guests usually throw out one, and then I'll come to one. So I'm gonna let Sean start. Throw out one. Is there one tag team that has to be on, like, in your mind? This has to be on the list. Like, no brainer, has to be on the list.
Greatest tag team, my brother, of all time. I'm going to start right at the top. In my opinion, the greatest tag team ever formulated.
Jesse and Festus.
Match of power and speed. I'm going with the original Hart Foundation. Bret Hart, Jimmy Anvil, Neidhart.
Yo, my heart just stopped when he said power because I thought he was going to say and glory.
No. Right now. I like power and glory, but they're not on this list.
Okay, so explain why Hart Foundation, in your opinion. First of all, you said the greatest tag team ever, so why?
Well, I got to give it to. First of all, their gimmick was awesome. The pink and black attack thing was real cool. But even before, I know we all think about Bret Hart in more common era, like 96, 97, 98, as far as like his greatest time in professional wrestling, being the champion. Actually, 94, actually. But what I'm talking about in 88, 89, back maybe even 87, 86, when the Hart Foundation was formed. You could see the writing on the wall. Bret Hart had this technical knowledge from his father, Stu, working with his brother, Owen, God rest his soul, back in Canada, came to WWE. You match him up with his real-life brother-in-law, Jim Neidhart, who was this ex-football player, super powerful, super athletic. You should see Jim and Anvil Neidhart, almost 300 pounds, doing a tremendous drop kick. So you could see that they had this chemistry, man. And then you match him up with Jimmy Hart when they were heels. No relation, but match him up with Jimmy Hart. Very charismatic. Bret Hart was kind of able to overcome his issues with doing promos. Initially, he talked about how he wasn't really excellent at doing promos, so he wore sunglasses like I do. And basically from there, he was able to kind of get over that hump. Jimmy Neidhart was insane, but we loved him for that. Technical expertise, power, and speed, and a great, great gimmick.
Conrad, how do you feel? Hart Foundation top 10?
I think it could be argued. I would be willing to hear everyone else because I have a couple people I put over the Hart Foundation, but
Kyron, what do you think?
Maybe.
I don't know if I would go as far as say the greatest tag team of all time, but I think for this list, I think they should be on here.
Ooh, I think I might be with Kyron on this one, man. Hart Foundation is great. I don't know, man, but we're talking about top 10 greatest tag teams of all time, so I'm just thinking of other couple tag teams that I think should be on the list.
Oh, okay. Well, I know what tag team I think we're all gonna agree on.
I'm gonna put them down for the maybes though, real quick for now. But I think that's tough, man.
Before we move on, I just want to say I think it's just difficult. For me, they're the greatest team of all time, but I know that's definitely up for debate. But as far as the top 10 part, I challenge anyone to name 9 teams, or actually it would be 10 teams because that would make them number 11. 10 teams that are better than the Hart Foundation. That's, I don't know, man.
Kyron, which one do you want to throw out there?
Well, all I'm gonna say is 1, 2, 3. Get the tables, the Dudley Boys. When you're talking about a team that in WWE, ECW, TNA, even in New Japan, tag team championships, I think they've won more tag team titles than any tag team in history. There's no debate. Dudley Boys are definitely on this list to me.
Kyron, what do you think?
I have argued over the years that the Dudley Boys are probably the number 1 or number 2 tag team. I have to bring up Heat Wave. I don't remember if it was 98 or 99. One of the greatest promos I've ever seen as a kid. When Bubba Ray Dudley, I don't know if you guys have ever looked this up. Bubba Ray's in the middle of the ring, and they are cutting this promo about these fans, and they are going in. And people are like, oh, I hate you. You suck. And a daughter and mother are in the front row, like yelling at them. And Bubba Ray looks over to the mom and said, yeah, it's real nice of you. That's how you taught your daughter how to suck. And he said it, and the mom got mad. So when Bubba Ray went on the outside in front of them, the lady's trying to like swing at him, and the security's holding her back. And the lady spits at him. And he said, oh, you're going to spit at me? And he spit back at her. You cannot do stuff like this today, number one, if you're a wrestler. So just know this will never happen again. But that crowd wanted to murder the Dudley Boys. And I thought they did a great job. They've always done the right things. They're part of those epic TLC matches. I think you can argue that they're the greatest tag team. So they're on my list.
Sean, what do you say?
I heard, what my two compatriots had to say about my two colleagues had to say about the Dudley Boys. I would put them in the top 10, but they're more in like the 8 or 9 range to me. But I think that they definitely make the top 10. I wouldn't say they're in the top 2 greatest teams of all time. There's so many I'm sure we're going to discuss as part of this great show. But top 2, top 3, not in my book, but definitely in the top 10, probably around 8 or 9.
Yeah, we don't do the rankings. We just
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that case, yes, then definitely in the top 10.
Well, no debate here. They're in my top 10 too, so that was no debate there. Conrad, I'm gonna go to you now. Which tag team you want to throw out there?
I'm going to go with a throwback tag team. Give me the shoulder pads with the spikes. What a rush! Listen, people love. I don't care if you call them the Road Warriors, the Legion of Doom. Those were some of the baddest dudes on the block. And I don't care if you think their promos are corny, and they would come out and do their thing. When you saw those dudes with the pads on, and when someone got the Doomsday device, GG, bro, it's game over. You're not kicking out of that. It's done. I love the Road Warriors. Just a powerful tag team that just destroyed anybody in their way.
Sean, what do you think?
I'm saying yes, reluctantly. Their promos were so corny and their movesets were so predictable, so it sounds like I'm contradicting myself, but they are one of the 10 greatest teams of all time. I'm just not happy to say it because to me, they were just really one-dimensional, but they made that one dimension into something awesome. So
and they went everywhere and did the same thing the Dudleys did. They made it work.
So yeah, I give them the nod for a top 10.
So quick question. Do you think Road Warriors are better than Demolition?
Chill. I am of the firm belief that when they started Demolition, they gave Demolition, they wanted their own Road Warriors. Mm-hmm. But I feel Demolition carved out their own path, and I'm going to save it for when it's time to bring them up.
I like Demolition a lot. It's hard for me to comment on this because it's going to come across like I'm being like, it's about me on this one. So the answer for me is I think Demolition's better, but I think historically everybody would say the Legion of Doom is better. But to me, I thought Demolition did that thing better. It flowed better, especially when they were together with Mr. Fuji. I just love them as a team.
Kyron, what do you think?
Well, I don't really have much to say because this is before my time. But just based off legacy and I think they were the first tag team to win a tag team titles in WWE, WCW, NWA, and AWA. I'm like wrong about that, but I think the Road Warriors should be on this list. Yes.
All right, I'm putting the Road Warriors down. Now remember, factions are a part of this, though. Just so you remember.
We remember.
I cannot believe that the Hart Foundation were not a home run. This is crazy. But
that was Malik and Conrad. I said they should be on the list.
Okay, so I respect y'all's opinion, though.
I want to put them on the list, but we're talking about there's a couple factions I think they're gonna be on here too. So it's like
the maybes are when you start looking at like, okay, you definitely have to be, but you are up for like you may not make it. So right. You'll see once we get to the end.
I'm with it.
Okay, so we have 2 so far. I'll throw out another tag team. How do you guys feel about the Hardy Boys?
I was gonna bring the Hardy Boys up myself. This is more like everyone loves Hardy Boys, and this is definitely who me and you know. Like we know what Hardy Boys more than say LOD. So I think the Hardy Boys definitely made this list. They were the first tag team. Like when you watch them as a kid, like I want to be like that. I think the Hardy Boys should be on this list. Yes.
Oh man, when I see the Hardy Boys, man, I remember when I first saw the Hardy Boys, and when I really remembered them. I don't know if Sean feels the same way, but I remember when they were the jobbers. Like when you saw them, you were like, "Oh, you're about to get smacked up by Razor Ramon." Oh yeah, let's see. But I actually, when you go back and look at it, the Hardy Boys, I feel like I'm biased in this because they were my favorites out of the Dudleys, Edge, and Christian. I always wanted the Hardy Boys to win. They were my team. I was invested in Matt Hardy, his girl Lita. I love Jeff for being crazy. I think they're a great tag team, but I'm going to put them in the same part with the Hart Foundation as a maybe. I'm not saying that they're not in the top 10, but that they could possibly be in there. But I want to put them with the Hart Foundation for right now.
Because of my age being in my early 30s, I've had the benefit of seeing a lot of the greatest teams of all time, like I was very young, but in the 80s, especially in the 90s and into the 2000s. Because of that, I'm going to put the Hardy Boys in the maybe category. They are really good. They're excellent. But I can't definitively say that they are better than every team with the exception of 10 teams. So my point in saying that is that the Hardy Boys are great. I just can't put them in the top 10 right now.
All right, moving on from them. What about the Four Horsemen? Original Four Horsemen. When they started adding everybody else in there, the original Four Horsemen.
Factions count? We talked about that? Factions count?
Yes, factions count. Factions count.
Well, here's the weird thing. Are we talking about the tag team of the faction, though? Like, are we talking about Ole and Arn?
I thought we were just talking about everyone in general together.
Because that's kind of hot garbage, too, though, because Ric Flair was never in the tag team.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, but he was in the group. And
Arn and Ric Flair challenged for the tag titles.
I'm talking about the group. The Hart family, not the Hart family, but the Four Horsemen group.
Oh, this
the Horsemen, if factions are included, the Horsemen are definitely in the top 10.
They definitely got to be on the list for me. Top 10 easily.
Yeah, I think the Horsemen have to make the list.
Under these provisions, yes. See, this is where it started to get tough. That's why I wasn't putting people on the list. Horsemen.
Now you're talking about the tag team of Benoit and McMichaels. No.
You know what, though? Benoit and Malenko were underrated.
Blanchett, Ole, and Arn. That's all we're talking about here.
Nah, but again, to Malik's criteria, the Horsemen as a faction, I don't think any wrestling fan worth their salt would ever say no to them being in the top 10.
Okay, yeah. I have one.
Good.
You come out with the strumming the belt, NWO. You talk about influential. A group that
NWO is.
NWO, we're talking factions, this group, and I'm just talking about right now the original three. That's all I'm talking about for right now. You talk about when it got huge. I'm just talking about the original three for now. Hogan, Hall, and Nash. We talk about influential changing the business. NWO is who you think of.
Yeah, Hall and Nash were a great tag team. Hogan, amazing. Vicious and Delicious, not so much. We don't want to see no Buff Bagwell, Scott Norton, but they were influential. They got to be on the list. Like I said, these factions are going to make it easily.
For historical value, you got to put the NWO on the list. I would actually break it down a step further, even though we don't have to, and go specifically with the Outsiders. I think they would make the list by themselves. But NWO as a unit, undeniable.
There might be some factions that don't make it, though. I mean, you got to think. There are other good tag teams there, too. So I think there's somewhere unanimous. Four Horsemen was unanimous for me. I thought they had to be on the list. But there might be some tag teams that, that can make it over the factions. I could see. I could see that.
To your point, I think if the Outsiders were if this was I know you explained the parameters of the show, so it's if it was just 2-man tag teams, I think the Outsiders would make that list too.
Now that'd be more debatable, but
yeah, definitely.
Once throw NWO up there, it has to be there.
100%.
I want to throw out another tag team, this old school tag team out there. I don't know if they make the list, but I think they at least deserve to be talked about. What about the Rockers?
Conrad, you go first.
The Rockers are one of the greatest tag teams of all time. Tag team specialists with the double drop kicks, the double hip tosses. But the Rockers lost to the Orient Express, as me and Sean reviewed on the WrestleMania 6 for his show. So the Rockers, as much as I love Sean, The Rockers are not better than the Hart Foundation. I love them though. I think they really should have got a run in was it 90? I think 1990 when they had the chance to be the tag champs. Rockers are on my own personal list, but if it comes to top 10, I don't think the Rockers make it. Sorry.
Sean, what do you think?
Favorites, yes. Fun, yes. Athletic, yes, but not a top 10 team, no.
Yeah, well, Mr. Shawn Michaels fan over there said not in there. Then I was thinking that seriously, I don't I don't think the Rockets make the list. If the Hart Foundation's on the maybes, Rockets don't make the list.
All right, then I'll throw out the other Shawn Michaels tag team. We got to talk about DX too. We got to talk about DX. So.
They don't make no list either.
I'm wearing the green on his list.
Oh, Shawn Michaels and Triple H?
I'm talking about we're talking about DX in general, as in the main. When you think of DX, you think of Triple H, China,
Here's my
Outlaws, and X-Pac. That's
I gotta draw the line here with this.
I think of Triple H, Shawn Michaels.
I'm counting.
I'm not putting Triple H and Shawn on that list. I would give it to the New Age Outlaws before. This is the problem with the factions. To me, the New Age Outlaws are a top 10 tag team because nobody thought they would work. Who would have picked Rockabilly and the Roadie to be a tag team and they would work out?
That's a fact.
I'm going New Age Outlaws if we pick DX.
I just brought up DX as the conversation, so I didn't bring up New Age Outlaws. Yeah,
I don't think Triple H and Shawn were a real tag team, in my opinion.
Yeah, they were tag champions later in their career, but I don't think we're talking about that time frame.
Yeah, I just don't think that they're a real team in my mind. If you have to put who's the greatest tag team in DX, I think the Outlaws.
I mean, we're talking about factions though. DX might be one of the most influential factions.
Oh yeah, DX. That's the problem with the factions. Like they're automatically going to be on in a lot of them.
But a lot of those other factions won tag titles and everything, and did tag team matches and all that stuff. Triple H and Shawn, I don't think they had a tag team match back in the '90s together, if I'm not mistaken.
They had some on Raw, but nothing big.
Yeah, they would team up to fight like Stone Cold and Ken.
I'm talking about like they didn't have them like they did when they came back in '06, like when they were teaming up all the time and doing.
Yeah.
They were more of just for comedy and ratings for the show.
Exactly.
I'm with the comment on that one though. I think Outlaws are better tag team overall than DX. Faction wise, huge, incredible, very impactful, but tag team wise, Outlaws were shit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would give the nod to the Outlaws over DX as a whole, but obviously the Outlaws are a part of DX. But the New Age Outlaws were a great tag team. The X-Pac, Triple H, Shawn, if you want to add Shawn Michaels to the situation, that doesn't really resonate with me in my mind when I hear the word tag team, but I know factions are involved. So considering the fact that the Outlaws were a part of DX, then I give DX the nod, yes.
Well, we ain't going to give it to both those, so we got to pick either DX or Outlaws. We got to get one of the other.
In that case, I pick the Outlaws.
Oh, you didn't know?
Yeah, in that case, I pick the Outlaws.
Sorry, Kyron. I go with the Outlaws, too.
All right. Even though DX deserves to be on its list because they were more influential. But okay, all right, whatever.
They definitely could be argued. I don't know. I don't think it could be argued to be on the list, but when I think of DX, I just think of Shawn Michaels and Triple H. That's just me. I don't think of everybody else, even if they were all in the group. Like I think of like Shawn Michaels and Triple H. That's when when you think of, if you ask people who don't even watch wrestling, like, hey, who's in DX? They're probably gonna say Triple H, Shawn Michaels.
Like I think this list is tough even without like considering factions. Once you start getting in the top 10 tag teams, feelings are going to be hurt somewhere along these lines.
Well, let's talk about New Age Outlaws then. DX is gone because they're outvoted. So let's talk about New Age Outlaws. Top 10 greatest tag team ever. We'll start with Conrad.
Yeah, New Age Outlaws. They're in to me. I'm down with the Outlaws being in.
Sean, what do you think?
Lower level of the top 10, but definitely in the top 10, in the 8 or 9 range. Yes.
Kyron, what do you think?
Yeah, I guess you put the Outlaws. DX not going to be there. The Outlaws.
You know what's different? Did you guys ever watch like the Outlaws rise to where they were?
Yeah.
Here's the weird thing. DX siphoned off of them. They were going to join the group when Shawn and Triple H were in it anyway. When there was the original DX, they were teaming with them, helping them out. The original Outlaws came out wearing South Park shirts when South Park was cool at the time. They were just kind of like jerks, and they went out there, broke all the rules, and did everything else. So it was completely different at that time to be that kind of tag team, and people got behind it. And I don't know how Billy got started getting all the kisses on his pants, and it got all weird with DX being goofy and stuff. But the Outlaws were a heck of a team, man. I remember their matches with Mankind and Kane dumpster matches. They were some rough dudes, man.
I gotta put them on maybe for me, man, because we ain't put Hart Family in there or Hardy Boys in there yet. So that's tough. That's tough for me, bro.
Well, I have two factions. If we're doing, I have two factions.
I gotta come back to New Age Outlaws for me, because we ain't put the Hart Foundation. Hart Family not even in there yet, and that's debatable to me. I would put Hart Family over New Age Outlaws, like if they were putting them on the list.
Wow.
I would put them over New Age Outlaws.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I have two factions, and Malik, I think you once told me these are your two favorite factions of all time: Evolution, The Shield.
Well, let's bring up one. You only talk about one now, so which one we want to talk about first?
Well, you know what? Let's talk about Evolution first.
We'll talk about Evolution first, because Evolution was first. All right, what about Evolution?
Conrad, you go first.
I mean, when I think of
no, come on, let's be real. We're talking about greatest 10 factions of all time, despite whether you hate Triple H now. We're talking about the greatest groups ever.
I'm just being honest. I hate like this because the factions would dominate over some of these groups is the problem. It's like a big mishmash of
but all four of them are Hall of Famers, though. All four of them are going to be in the Hall of Fame someday.
My hands are staying up.
I see.
It's really doing the Randy Orton pose.
I was gonna say something real foul. I was gonna say where's she at, but
I can see your point with the factions being too dominant.
Like Triple H and Ric Flair put this group over no matter what. And when I hear Evolution and we're talking tag teams, I think Ric Flair and Batista. That when I hear that with Evolution, that's what I'm thinking in my mind. And I know that's not how I should be thinking because this isn't a top 10 factions list. This is tag teams.
If I'm not mistaken, they were the only entity within that group to be tag champs, right?
Tag champs, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, factions and tag teams are kind of the same. I mean, I can see your point when you say some factions dominate over. I can see that, but all four guys are Hall of Famers.
Is that an thing? Like, Kyron, do you feel the same way? Like factions and tag teams are the same thing?
Well, we said we're counting factions. Wait a minute. I was thinking. Well, if I don't think the same thing. But Malik said we're counting factions. But I have an idea that can make this even because the factions might win out. Why don't we do 5 factions and 5 tag teams?
I mean, it make it a little harder, but we can do that.
Oh, top 5 tag teams is gonna be
tag teams, and the Hart Foundation should definitely be in the top 5 tag teams.
Yeah, oh no, they ain't making it. I don't think. Oh man.
I mean, okay. Look, if you want, we can just exclude the factions and we can go straight to tag teams.
Because here's the thing: Evolution as a faction, top 10, yes.
Yes.
Evolution as a tag team, top 10. Heck, no, I don't want to see Ric Flair and Batista.
Yeah.
Well, okay, fine. I guess that's fair.
All right, we'll exclude the factions and we'll just go tag team. So I'm gonna take out the Horsemen. I'm taking out NWO.
Okay, but are you gonna keep the Outsiders?
Right now, hold on. You can't. That's not what I'm saying to exclude them either, though, because the Outsiders are still someone I think we should talk about.
Yeah, but then you'd have to kind of like dissect the Outsiders.
Yeah, dissect the Outsiders. We can talk about the Outsiders then. So let's talk about. Okay, let's talk about the Outsiders. Let's talk about Scott Hall and Kevin Nash.
I feel weird about Scott Hall and Kevin Nash as a tag team. I feel like they were 2 top-level talents thrown in that position because
who did it marvelously.
Yeah, they did great, but they just didn't have any room for them in the main event picture, and they knew they didn't want to eat that leg drop, brother. So they were like, yeah, we'll roll over here and be in a tag team. We're cool with that for right now. But train? So
no, we're not having A-Train.
It's a train right here, bro.
A-Train and Big Show.
No, that's fine. As soon as I heard it, though, someone thought of A-Train as soon as I heard it. Yeah, I don't know. The Outsiders are a really good team, and when you look at greatest WCW tag teams, I think they're in the conversation. I would put them in the maybes for now, because, like I said, if the Hart Foundation are the list of what's the maybes, then they're definitely a maybes.
I just want to interject, man. Everybody who has said during one point or another, if the Hart Foundation that's why they shouldn't be in the maybe.
Oh no, because the first maybe usually sets it okay.
Yeah, the first maybe does set the bar. But here's the thing. If we took factions, I'm pretty sure the Hart Foundation should be on the list now.
Right, that's what I'm saying. If you look at the 5 people that were in the Hart Foundation faction, they would have been on that list easily. Like Pillman.
I'm just talking about Brett, but just Brett and Anvil alone, I think that's enough to make it now. That's because we're not counting factions, just 2-man teams.
Listen, let's keep going through these teams, and I'll tell you, you can start feeling a little bit different. It's going to get finicky a little bit.
All right, so what about Outlaws? I'm putting Outlaws in the maybes in. I'm putting them on the maybes.
Who, the New Age Outlaws?
No, the Outsiders. My fault. I don't even see Outsiders.
Yeah. I'm cool with that.
I put them on the maybes. Okay, another tag team I want to bring up. I mean, we talked about Dudley Boys, Hardy Boys. We got to talk about Edge and Christian too.
I was about to bring Edge and Christian.
They run the tag team. They run that TLC tag team run. Great tag team. Very successful singles wise. I mean, Edge was a bigger star, but top 10 greatest tag teams. Woo, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Oh, well, his thing, Edge and Christian might be the least famous of the two tag teams just because they went on to do bigger stuff. Whereas with the Dudley Boys, you really think of them as a tag team. When the Hardy Boys, same thing. Whereas you might think of Edge on his own. Even though I love Edge and Christian, especially the fact that they were hilarious. And you know, one way to draw me in is especially be funny. That's why I like the New Day so much. Because if you can be funny and do good in the ring, I'm gonna like that. But once again, if the Hardy Boys didn't make it, or Edge and Christian gonna make it?
They're on the maybes.
That's gonna be the best part. Wait till we get to the maybes at the end. That's where the tears really start to come in.
That's where it gets hard.
So, am I putting Edge and Christian on the maybes, or are they just not? And you don't think they should be in there?
I think I'm outnumbered, but I would put them in the top 10 because for everybody who's listening who doesn't know already, wrestling is predetermined. But look, there's a reason why these decisions are made. Edge and Christian won the ladder match at WrestleMania in 2000. They won TLC 1 and they won TLC 2.
That's a good point.
I have to put them in the top 10. But I know I'm outnumbered for the maybes, but I would put them in the top 10.
I want them on the top 10.
Oh, okay, so there you go. All right, cool.
But
I just don't think they're as renowned, like Kyron said, though, as a tag team. Like,
think about it. I want to think like this. Do you think Edge and Christian are better than the Hardys or the Dudleys?
I think that's a toss-up. I think all three should be mentioned in the same breath.
I think I would like in terms of tag
You got. I mean, to me, if I had to rank them, Edge and Christian would be last. Like, if I'm picking those two are. But that's just for me. I don't know.
are you basing that off of their synergy or their matches, though? Like, do you feel like Edge and Christian aren't a tag team, or do you say?
I think they're a great tag team, but I wouldn't put their tag team legacy over those two. See what I'm saying?
That's tough because the Hardy Boys, but they were tag teams longer. I think Edge and Christian, they broke them up kind of prematurely because that was during the Invasion era, right?
Right. That's a big reason over. They split up and never really got back together. I think tag team wise,
they stayed apart. That was one of the
they stayed like I can watch an Edge and Christian tag team match any day. You know what I mean? But legacy wise too, you got to think legacy is a big part of this too. You know what I mean? Like legacy wise, championship wise, I don't think their legacy is bigger than the Hardy Boys or Dudley Boys, the tag team. You know what I mean? Tag team wise.
It's sad because I think during that height, Edge and Christian was so good, both in the ring, and especially like I said, just being funny with it. Like
the Conquistadors, I love that. That was a funny like little program they had for a little bit with
the midgets. Remember they were doing the stuff with the midgets?
Si, senor. Yes.
They were hilarious. They were good in the ring. They're good looking. They had all the checkpoints, man.
What was the thing they were messing with Mick Foley about? Saying they had genital wars. Yeah, that was funny too. Genital wars do not rule. they are very painful and they're itchy. But that was funny.
I'll put them on the maybes for now. I can't put them on the list right now. Just for like I can't say they're definite on the list right now.
I have a team I think we're all gonna agree on.
Oh, definitely. Jesse and Festus. They might gonna bring up them or am I
gonna keep saying bring up Jesse and Festus one more time, bro? Nobody liked them.
Biscuits and gravy. Come on.
That's almost garbage, man. That's all didn't make any sense. But what about Harlem Heat?
That was one of the teams I was gonna bring up.
Hell no. I'm just kidding.
Check. Yes, Harlem Heat.
I would put Harlem Heat on my list. Yes, absolutely.
I think Harlem Heat deserves to be in the conversation. If it's not a yes, it's got to be a maybe.
Gotta look out for the brothers.
List.
Gotta look out for the. I got you. Gotta look out for the brothers in here.
Now, does that include Harlem Heat 2000?
Bro,
no.
Big T.
Did you hear what I said? I said
Ebony Essence.
I said I had to look out for the brothers, and I wrote down Harlem Brothers by accident. I said brothers at the wrong time.
Don't worry. If you heard what their original gimmick was going to be, you would cry. I didn't even find that out until probably a couple days before the Hall of Fame. I was on vacation from work, and I was crying.
Harlem Heat.
Did you ever read what they were going to have them do as a tag team?
Nah.
Oh, I forgot.
This is where I can get wild. Sean, you don't know what it is?
No, you want to know?
I'm gonna tell you guys. So this is kind of sad. So they took a gimmick. You know Colonel Robert Parker, the manager. He was flirting with Sherry all the time. He comes out. He looks like the Colonel from KFC, kind of. He would come out and manage people. He was gonna manage Harlem Heat. at the time, and they were going to call him something else. They did this at house shows. They came out in chains, and they came out in jail uniforms. And the gimmick was going to be that he won them in a poker game with someone from, I forgot what southern state it was going to be, like Mississippi or Maryland. And he won them.
That sounds like slavery.
Yes.
That is slavery.
Yo, that's what the gimmick was. They came out in chains, and they said people in the South were flipping about it. They're like, yo, we can't do this on TV. So they became Keith and Cole from Harlem Heat, and they were going to be from Harlem, New York, until you found out they were from Texas, and it just didn't work. They're like, you're just Harlem Heat, bro. Go out there and just beat people up. That's all.
The Harlem.
Well, I'm glad
He's one of the greatest tag teams.
Storyline. I'm glad that gimmick didn't see the light of day.
Dude, I never heard of that though for years. Like I always think like, oh, I know all this stuff about wrestling. And someone was like, nah, bro, look this up. And they were like, I was at the show where they did this, and I was like, that's what they thought of wrestlers back in the day. That was under Bill Watts, I believe.
All right, so we have 5 so far. I'm gonna bring up another tag team. I don't know if they make the list, but I think they deserve at least to be talked about. What about the Usos?
So tough.
See, I think what really helps elevate them is that when they turned heel in 2016 and that feud they have the New Day. That really elevated them because they were always good.
Skyrocket, bro. Usos they've always been my favorites, bro. They can go. You put them in any tag team, they can go, bro.
I honestly have a lot of dream matches with the Usos facing people outside of WWE that I
Buck. I'm just gonna
Yeah, Gorillas of Destiny. It don't matter who it is. I want to see the Usos face a lot of those teams.
The Briscoes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Top 10? I don't know, man. I could put them on the maybes for now if you guys want me to.
Yeah.
I think so. They're so good. They were good before when they were faces. Well, they're faces technically again now, like the kind of anti-hero now. But when they were faces with the face paint, they were good. But they became great in 2016, as was mentioned earlier.
I feel like they got to be themselves once they finally turned heel a little bit, and they got to wait. Cena is what killed them, to be honest. If you guys don't know, John Cena, that night where they teamed up with Cena to face the Wyatt family and all that hurt them real bad. Like anybody who teamed with Cena, it was toxic at that moment.
And it's sad because that really should have gave him a huge road, to be honest. And even that really should give him a road. But really, what killed him, even if you don't think Cena killed him, when they helped Roman against Styles, that ended it for him.
Yeah, like, Roman Reigns was so hated at that time. That heat was his.
Literally, I remember watching a match between Styles and Roman, and when the Usos got involved, I literally jumped on my seat. I was like, "Fuck you, Usos!" That's how mad I was during that match.
I think they could be. That's tough for me, man. I think they're one of the best tag teams of the new generation, like tag team wise. Like when you talk about the best tag team of the new generation, they got to be talked about. Top 10 though, I think they deserve at least to be put in for the maybes for now. So we'll come back to them. Anybody? I'm gonna go back to you guys. Is there a tag team you want to throw out there, Conrad? You're looking like you got somebody you want to say.
Let me see. We did the Outlaws. We did Harlem Heat. I mean, you got to throw out some old school tag teams too. I think me and Sean are going to throw out so many of these old school names.
Well, let's talk. Hold on, we got to talk about Demolition though. We didn't really talk about them like that.
Oh yeah, they're definitely on my list to bring up. But I want to go even further back a little bit. You got to talk about teams like the Rock and Roll Express. I think they're a great tag team.
The Midnight Express.
Midnight Express too with Cornette. Two great tag teams.
We got the Freebirds and the faction.
See, the Freebirds are the same as New Day. I see them as a tag team, despite all three of them being interchangeable.
Yeah, but
same with Demolition with Crush.
Yeah, the New Day and the Fabulous Freebirds are like one of those weird hybrids in a good way.
They're a faction, but yet anyone on that can be tag teams.
Right. And they all function as it was the Freebird rule. Like they all function as a team.
And it never felt awkward. If New Day's in a tag team match, if it was just Woods and Big E, that worked. Kofi and Big E, that worked. Or Kofi and Woods.
Exactly.
It won't work.
Exactly.
Woods and Kofi, yeah.
I agree with you 100%. So to me, yeah, the
let's talk about.
Yeah,
you said Midnight Express. Let's talk about Midnight Express. Since you brought it up, and then we'll go.
Beautiful Bobby Eaton and Sweet Stan Lane with Jim Cornette, man. That's a great heel tag team with the tennis racket, beating people down. I would say they were one of WCW's most successful tag teams. If we did a top 10 WCW list, I think they're on mine.
So put them on the maybes.
That's up to you guys.
I mean, go ahead. Go.
Oh, I was gonna say I'd probably say maybe for now, but once again we gotta get back to it.
Yeah, maybe for now. But I agree. If this was an exclusive WCW list, they'd be on the list. But obviously, it's not an all WCW list. But because I would put them on an all-time WCW list, I would have to put them on the maybes for all time.
Okay, and then what about Midnight Express? They were talked about too.
I
You
think
mean rock and roll?
rock and roll. We just brought Midnight.
Rock and Roll Express, my fault.
Rock and Roll Express still wrestle today. I don't know if you guys were on Twitter during WrestleMania week or like the week after. Did you guys see Ricky Morton do a Canadian Destroyer as old as he is? This dude just went to the WWE Hall of Fame 2 or 3 years ago. I was in Orlando when he went in. This man did a Canadian Destroyer. I didn't even believe people when they said, I'm like, nah, man, you must be thinking about the Young Bucks or someone else. They're like, no, dude, Ricky Morton from Rock and Roll Express did it. And I'm like, stop fronting. Type it in on Twitter, refresh, my jaw to the ground. Like, there ain't no way this old dude just did this to somebody, and he did. I think the Rock and Roll Express are greats too, man. I hold them in the same breath as Midnight Express.
I would give the only reason I'm going to say no, and I know this is I'm reversing it. I'm going to take back my maybe about the Midnight and say no, because I'm going to put the Rock and Roll on the maybes, and I believe that the Rock and Roll was better than the Midnight, if that makes any sense. So again, I'm saying I know they're still going to be on the list because like we all had a vote, but my point is I think the Rock and Roll was better than the Midnight Express, but I still can only give Rock and Roll a maybe at this point. But yeah, if I had to choose between those two, I'd go Rock and Roll. But yeah, maybe.
All right, I can put them on the maybes. All right, so since you brought up WCW Tag Team, let me bring up another one that I really like. They won't make a list, but I want to talk about Hollywood Blondes because I love that tag team.
Oh, don't get me started, man. That was my team back in the day. Damn. You know we're old because we know the gimmicks and all that. Yeah.
I don't think they're top 10 greatest tag teams ever, but I think they need to be talked about. Hollywood Blondes, what do you guys feel about them?
Malik, I think you said it perfectly. They're not on the list. I wouldn't put them in the top 10, but they deserve to be talked about. I agree with you 100%. They just weren't together long enough to be considered one of the greatest. But if you said this was a list about the greatest teams that were only together for a year, then they would be on the list.
And you know what's crazy? I remember some of their matches, like some of their greatest matches facing, I believe they faced Ric Flair and Arn once. I believe they also faced Ricky Steamboat and Shane Douglas and had some great tag matches with them. I really, really enjoyed them as a tag team, but I don't think they make the list. Not together long enough for longevity purposes.
They were awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, is there a tag team, Sean, you want to throw out there? You want to mention?
All right. I'm going to go with a debatable squad. The Nasty Boys. The Nasty Boys.
Oh.
The Nasty Boys are tough. And I'm bringing them up because they are tough, and I think they'll be a good point of debate. They are the former WCW United States Tag Team Champions and the former WCW World Tag Team Champions. They did defeat the Hart Foundation for the WWE Tag Team Championship at WrestleMania 7. If it counts to you guys, they were the AWA Tag Team Champions. So they've done a lot, very similar to the Road Warriors. Their resume is very similar, yet you probably wouldn't put them in the same breath with the Road Warriors. So I'm going to say that the Nasty Boys are a maybe. If you put my feet to the fire, they probably would not make my list. But I think, similar to what you were saying, Malik, about the Hollywood Blondes, I think the Nasty Boys deserve to be talked about.
I think the difference between the Road Warriors, Legion of Doom, and the Nasty Boys is the fact that the Nasty Boys never really main evented. I think that's kind of against them a little bit. Because even Rock and Roll Express main evented shows, but the Nasty Boys were never that team that you could put in that spot. You could give them a nice mid-card match, though, and they could hold it down. They're going to do their thing. And a lot of people don't know they were in WCW in like 1990.
Right.
If same thing, if you told me like I have to choose if they're top 10, no.
Yeah, I don't think so. What about the Brothers of Destruction?
Kane Taker?
That's a hard no for me because they were good, but that's a hard no for me.
I'm going to say no. Better enemies than tag team.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay,
Who?
I got a tag team I want to bring up. I don't think they make lists, but they were one of my favorite tag teams as a kid. Conrad knows I love them, dude. Charlie Hawes and Shelton Benjamin worked
I
with
knew
tag
you
team,
were
bro.
gonna say that.
I fucking love those dudes, bro. They were legit for me, man. If you ask me, I don't think they're top 10, but I think they're a perfect fit for each other.
I liked Haas and Benjamin as a tag team. I think that Shelton's career was better, though. Shelton, to me, always stood out more. As like when there's tag teams, I always pick one guy who I think is more of a standout and more of my favorite.
So
Shelton
might was Marty Jannetty.
Ooh, I don't want to say that because that hurts some people's feelings a little bit.
What did he say?
He said Shawn Michaels Marty Jannetty syndrome.
It's you know what that is, Malik. Like one.
I gotta step away for 1 second.
Like you know how that works, Malik. For example, the Marty, like if you one team we didn't rep the Steiner brothers, for instance. The Sean of that group was obviously Scott. And Rick was the Marty.
But I feel that that's a disrespectful statement too, though, because when you look at it, Rick and Marty were both really good.
So was Charlie, but he was so was Charlie Hawes, but he was the Marty Jannetty of the group.
You're looking for the standout, basically, of the two. I guess that's a better way to put it.
Who's the one that when they broke up had better success?
Booker T and Stevie Ray. You could say the same thing. Booker T stood out more than Stevie Ray.
Funny thing, Brian Zane, he did a top 8 like Marty Jannetty's. Besides Marty Jannetty, Stevie Ray was number 1.
You know what? I like Stevie Ray better than Booker T back then. I thought Stevie Ray had more to him. He was taller. I thought he had more size.
There's always one tag team when you have. There's always one guy that stands out. You know, Edge stood out more than Christian. Jeff Hardy.
I can't go far to say Christian was a Marty Jannetty. I can't go that far because Christian became a world champion in his own right.
I'm not saying he's Marty. I'm saying there's always one person who's more successful and people like more. That they gravitate to more.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, Dudley Boys and TNA, Bubba Ray, when they want to do a Bubba Ray thing. Hardy Boys, Jeff Hardy. People love Jeff Hardy more. You know, Edge and Christian, obviously Edge. Even Los Guerreros, Eddie Guerrero over Chavo. I mean, it's always that one person.
To me, that was one of the teams I was going to bring up too. Was Los Guerreros? I mean, world's greatest tag team. Does anybody really think they should be on this list? Let's be honest.
No.
I wouldn't put them on my list, but I thought that at least deserved to mention. I thought they were a good ass tag team. Especially, and imagine if Kurt Angle never got hurt at WrestleMania. I mean, if he didn't have that neck surgery, they could have did some good shit with those three.
But you know what? Here's one thing, and I don't think they're on the list either. I would say Los Guerreros. I put them before I put the world greatest tag team.
You know what? That was Chavo's best run, in my opinion. Him teaming up with Eddie, but to me, that was the greatest thing Chavo ever did. I feel bad. I think Lieutenant Loco was more over than anything he did in WWE. Like, I don't know. That's just my opinion.
I thought he was good for the cruiserweight division. Maybe I was just a little kid watching, so I always liked Chavo.
And I like Chavo in that division, but I think he did more in the tag. Personally, like I liked him and Eddie as a team, but Eddie outshined him far, far superior.
Okay. Once again, there's another team I don't think is gonna make the list, but I think it's at least deserve mention. What about the Mega Powers? You talking about Star Power? And even though we knew it was just an angle just to get WrestleMania 4 to 5, it's still like when you take Star Power and the storyline that they got, you know.
What do you think?
I'm thinking right now about the Mega Powers because they teamed for a year. They weren't bad as a team. I think that they go to the Hollywood Blonde section, just not enough time as a team, even though they reunite though later in WCW too.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm going to say no.
We're talking about top 10s.
No, I say no.
Top 10 in Star Power, top 10 in box office appeal, but not top 10 as a tag team.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna throw another tag team there that's recent, and you know what? When they put them guys together, they surprised I think a lot of people more than anybody ever thought they were. They were a lot better than anybody thought they were.
Sting and Luga.
I don't personally I wouldn't have them in my top 10, but I think tag team wise they surpassed expectations that everybody thought they were. Talking about the Bar. Sheamus and Cesaro were a good ass tag team together.
And they proved me wrong. I thought it was a waste putting them together.
I was there in the arena when they put them two together. When Mick Foley came out and said you had the best of 7, whatever, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, what are they doing? And they put them as a tag team. I ain't gonna lie, man. They made it work. They made it work really well. I thought they were a really good tag team.
They're a top 10 tag team
now.
In the past. Right now,
yeah.
2 or 3 years, but not all the time. But I agree. They deserve to be mentioned because they overachieved as a team. They were very good together. I mean, I think we all agreed they wouldn't be on the top 10 all time, but they're top 10 in the past 2 or 3 years. Yeah.
All right. I have two. Well, I have two right now, but we can talk about one for now. The Steiner brothers and Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik.
Yes, no.
Same. And I think we both already know who we're talking about.
Yes and no.
I love the Steiner brothers. I think the Steiner brothers, they did the same thing. WWF tag titles, WCW tag titles, ECW tag titles. Really good stuff by them. I just reviewed Great American Bash 97. Steiner Brothers versus Harlem Heat was in there. And I said I never would have thought when I was watching this that 2 world champions were in the ring at that time. So I think Steiner Brothers have to be on there.
On the list or in the maybes?
Oh, they're I think they're on the list for me.
I put the Steiners on there.
Yeah, they cracked the top 10 in my book.
All right. Just so you know, there's a lot of good tag teams we didn't put on here yet, so that leaves out a spot.
I'm just trying to think before we start getting into the maybes list, like people we haven't even brought up yet. Like I'm on this list looking at some of the.
You know, let's talk about some TNA tag teams too, because there was a lot of good TNA tag teams.
Beer Money. It's
Beer
Money.
Money.
That was my squad.
Shit, dude. Beer Money was my shit, dude.
Beer Money was that.
He comes from money.
Beer Money is probably the best TNA tag team. Also, the Motor City Machine Guns.
Motor City Machine Guns. I was about to say Motor City Machine Guns was the truth too.
Remember that Best of 5 series those two teams had? That was epic. Especially that 2 out 3 falls match to settle. That was epic.
But don't forget about that other team that James Storm was in, the America's Most Wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think Beer Money first.
Well, LAX too. LAX was dope too.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait, time out. New LAX might be even better, dude. New LAX is wild.
Yeah.
But but here's the thing: when I think of any TNA tag team, the first thing I think of is Beer Money.
Yeah, Beer Money is the first thing I think.
That's not around the time I really was watching TNA, like right when they got together. So
Beer
I hated them when I was little, but I liked them, man. They won the title.
Sorry about your damn
luck. I think if we kept counting any TNA teams, Beer Money is on this list.
And you know what I thought was dope that they did with them? They were a tag team when Bobby Roode got the shot at kind of like their WrestleMania, the Bound for Glory. I thought that was so dope that they stayed a team. Bobby Roode loses, and you're like, what? I thought Bobby Roode was going to win. He's got the look. He's got it all. What happened? And then the next week, Kurt Angle comes out injured and challenges anybody, and James Storm comes out and beats him. And he thought his partner would be happy for him, and he smashed the beer bottle over his head. Dude, that's some crazy stuff.
That was legit stuff. He smashed the beer bottle over his head the next week and took the title from him and spat on him.
Yeah.
What a way to break up a team. That was good storytelling.
And then the promo they had right before that match at Lockdown next year, that was some like.
See, this is when TNA was doing some good stuff. Because I was tuning in every week on TNA.
Let's not reminisce over the 6 months of goodness, though. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think if we are counting any TNA team,
they had a couple of good years in them. I think from like 05 to like 2011. That's when I watched them. I used to go to their shows. Like I went to house shows and everything.
TNA was really good for a short amount of time.
It was better than WWE for a little bit to me.
It was.
I thought they were having better matches and better storylines as well. So I mean, I thought they were putting out better stuff until they brought in Hogan and everything ruined it.
And they brought Hogan, Bischoff, and Russo in there and fucked everything up.
I mean, the best wrestling show I ever went to this day was Lockdown 2011, bro. I was there, and that's probably the best wrestling show I've ever been to. That was a TNA show. That's when Kurt Angle did the backflip. This when him and Jeff Jarrett had that steel cage match, did that backflip, and I about lost my mind. Did that backflip because he was old, and I was like, I don't know if he can still do it. And he did it, and he missed, but he still did it.
So I'm trying to think of who else. So you said Beer Money from there.
Motor City Machine Guns, got to be talked about them. Got to talk about them. LAX.
That's tough, bro. I will put current LAX on the maybe list, and the old LAX is a no.
I reverse that.
I like old LAX. Homicide and Hernandez, bro. That was the shit, man.
Now you're talking.
Yeah, but I started watching like
Latin American and shit, bro. Just imagine if the indie scenes was hot now, bro, with those two. And woo.
Well, here's the thing. Homicide came from Ring of Honor.
Is in their corner. Oh my god.
Yeah, but I'm saying like now. Imagine that LAX versus the Lucha Bros, the Young Bucks. Dude,
Yeah, they were good.
And dude, I was gonna save them. We haven't even brought up those teams yet.
Oh, I was gonna get to those. Too. We gotta talk about Young Bucks. To me, we gotta talk about them. So I mean, Beer Money. I don't think they're in the top 10. I thought they at least we talked about. I used to like those tag teams. They were really good TNA tag teams. We're gonna have to do a TNA. We're gonna do a TNA list one day. I'm gonna make it happen. Do a TNA list.
I'd be glad to do that.
Yeah, TNA list they definitely be on.
Okay, let's talk about Young Bucks though. Now, before we get into it, I know we talk about top 10 greatest tag teams all the time, but think about what these guys have done for the wrestling industry over the past couple of years for the indie scenes. These guys refused to sign WWE contracts because they believed in themselves that they could be stars outside of WWE. They went to TNA, did the whole Generation Me thing, which was terrible. It never worked out for them. Left TNA and turned themselves into stars, but they sell their own merch, bro. They made a company that gives us hope for wrestling now. I don't know, bro. To me, they're top 3 best tag teams.
Let me ask this question. When did you guys all first see the Young Bucks?
I saw them when they were in TNA, Generation Me. That's when I first saw them.
You count Generation Me, TNA, but
Generation Me was the first time I ever laid eyes on them.
Now, I'm around that same. I had heard of them before as the Young Bucks, but I first saw them in TNA. Does anybody remember that match with Motor City Machine Guns where, you know, the spot where they flip and Nick Jackson dives through the ropes and he does the moonsault over? Nick Jackson at one point did not touch the ropes throughout any of this, and he did a moonsault as he dived outside to the floor and did a moonsault onto these dudes. I have never seen something that crazy in my life. Their finisher, the more bang for your buck, nuts. And now they do moves like the Indie Taker and the Meltzer Driver. I think they got to be on the list, dude. The Young Bucks are too talked about today just for their tag team skills. I think that they're on the list. I don't know if they're high top 10, but they should be on this list, I think.
You're gonna have OTR Central cuss us out.
See, that's tough for me because I'm thinking if I put the Young Bucks over the Usos, that's what I'm at. Like, do I think they're better than the Usos? You got to think in ring wise, they're both great. I mean,
who would you sign? Let's say you got enough money to sign one of them.
Oh, please, you're signing the Bucks, and I like the Usos, but you're signing the Bucks.
I don't have to sign.
That's tough for me. That's tough.
I'd probably, in my heart of hearts, sign the Usos. But the Bucks might be.
I don't want to make. I like the Usos. I love the Usos, but I'm signing the Young Bucks.
I'm signing the dude selling T-shirts at Hot Topic.
Fair enough. But are the Bucks?
I'm thinking tag team. I don't know. That's tough, man. That's tough.
Are the Young Bucks really a top 10 tag team of all time?
Well, here's how I'm going to judge it by. I know you're saying top 10 all time. I agree with you questioning that, but out of the Usos or the Young Bucks or Young Bucks and anybody, what tag team do you think can pull off a legitimate pay-per-view main event?
That's fair. I can't argue with that one.
But does a lot of it have to do that they're not in WWE and the other ones are?
That's a choice that they've made though for their career and your body of work. That's what you've laid out.
You see, the sad thing is, and I know they're not even on the list, but if WWE had done them right when they came into the main roster, Revival could probably make this list. But, or at least we can bring up the Revival, but them getting fucked over in the main roster costs us that. And I don't care if they're 2-time tag team champions. When they were in NXT, people were legitimately calling them the best tag team in the world.
Say yeah. Sorry.
Look, that match with DIY, that Chop 3 Falls match is still my favorite tag team.
I'm just saying when we talk about greatest factions, Undisputed Era is gonna be in there one day. I'm just talking about that.
Yeah, but that's why knowing y'all two, the way you fanboys over that.
Hey, look, Kyron. I know you was upset when he lost the belt, but I was looking for Adam Cole. I'm sorry, man. That's my guy.
Come on, Kyrie. You weren't cheering for Wrestling Flow when he went out there and did the song, bro. That song was dope, man. That's a dope
thing. Happy for him. I just didn't want to see my favorite wrestler lose.
Besides, there's only one wrestler in NXT that I like more than Adam Cole. That's Velveteen Dream. Besides that, he's number 2 on my list.
All right, everybody. 1, 2, 3.
Adam Cole, baby.
Sad that we all knew that. Besides, get the tables, right?
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, Young Bucks, bro, they got to be on the maybe for me, bro. We haven't put Hart family on there. Hardy Boys, bro. Young Bucks over Hardy Boys.
Oh, I ain't putting Young Bucks for Hardy Boys. I'm not doing it.
I'll listen. I'll go for the maybes, but I'm definitely not gonna say they're not gonna be on the list.
Young Bucks over Edge and Christian. Young Bucks over Edge and Christian.
I think so.
I don't think they're over Edge and Christian personally.
I do. I think that they're a real. Here's the problem. There's a lot of real tag teams with Edge and Christian. You knew the breakup was going to happen. The Hardy Boys, I didn't really think it right away. The Dudleys, I didn't think it right away. Edge and Christian, you knew, bro. You were like, yo, when are they gonna make Edge the star, man? You know they don't like Christian.
But Christian's a two-time world champion now.
I like Christian. We were just talking about Marty Jannetty's when you were gone before of tag teams. Like, you know, every tag team, you have your preferred person, which is going to be my next team that I want to bring up. Malik, do me a favor. At least put New Day and Demolition in the maybes. I know we mentioned them a bunch of times. Like, we could just all agree, right, that they're at least a maybe?
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just right here. New Day in the tag team or is it faction? Because there's 3 of them.
Tag team. They're a team.
You remember we said earlier, Malik, that like they're like this weird, cool hybrid of like 3 guys.
Well,
I would have New Day if they're my tag teams. I would have them my top 10.
But if we did that, put them on the maybes, wouldn't we have to put the Freebirds and the Von Erichs on the maybes too?
Well, this depends on your star power wise with them, and I don't think the Von Erichs are a top 10 tag team. As far as I hate talking about stuff that I don't know enough about, and I feel like I don't know enough about the Von Erichs.
My thing with the Usos is that but New Day, every guy wrestles. You don't know who's gonna wrestle. Sunday it could be Biggie and Kofi. It could be Kofi and
that's why they can make the list.
So I can see that. But Young Bucks though, there's a lot of we haven't put New Age Outlaws on there, bro. We haven't put.
I thought we agreed Outlaws was on the list.
No, I put them on the maybes. I got them on the maybes for now. I gotta come back to them.
Wait, who do we have on the list, Malik? Who's on the list for sure right now?
Dudley Boys, Road Warriors, Harlem Heat, and the Snyder Brothers. Because we had NWO and 4 Horsemen, but I took them out because they were factions, so I took those guys out.
Okay.
All right, we got 4 so far. Damn, we have a lot. We had 6.
So we got Snyder Brothers, we got Harlem Heat, and then we got Dudley Boys, Road Warriors.
Like I said, if this was factions, we'd be crying. Trust me.
Oh yeah, factions be hard on another level. That's why I think we need to do our own separate list for factions.
Okay, so let me see. I'm trying to think.
The weird part about that list, Malik and everybody, the weird part about a possibility of a faction list is like you can almost just like that. Like the first faction that comes to your head will probably be on the list. NWO, DX, Von Erichs, Freebirds,
Horsemen. Yep.
Yeah, that might. Yeah,
this is way harder. Tag team lists are very hard because I've done them before with other people, and I'm like, dude, this is rough. I got another more modern team that I wanted to bring up that was together for a little bit for I'd say a year or 2.
Ryder and Hawkins.
Shut up.
No, it's the Ryder and Hawkins. They got choked by the Undertaker.
Tag team champions.
They were, but so was this team. Miz and John Morrison. I think that they. Oh, you didn't like? I like them as a team. I think that set them both up.
What about Crime Time, bro? That was my shit, bro. Crime Time is my thing.
Listen, Crime Time was racist, but I did like Crime Time as a team.
It was racist, but it is racist.
Yeah.
Crime Time was funny in the mud, dude. Come on.
I gotta go to this show. I gotta go to those. Malik, is this a top 10 show or not?
I mean, I would have Jesse and Fest in the top 10. So I mean, I don't know why.
You cannot talk about Morrison and Miz being one of the top 10 tag teams.
Listen, John Morrison is never going to get mentioned on any list, and if it wasn't for John Morrison, I don't think the Miz would be where he is.
I would put John Morrison on. I would put John Morrison on the list of top 10 superstars that they. I don't know. I felt like he was going to be superstar. I feel like he was going to be like.
I would think of them when you talk about Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty, because if you asked me who the star of that team was, I would have said it was John Morrison.
Easily.
It got flipped.
Okay, hold on. What about another short tag team that were really good? They're not top 10.
London and Kendrick,
Jericho, Chris Jericho, and Big Show were good as tag team together.
I like them as a team, but I think they fall into the same category as Shawn and Triple H. Good team, but not together.
The only list John Morrison falls on, or list that like top 10 list that John Morrison falls on, a list that you have to say for a really long time. Like John Morrison's on the top 10 guys who were in WWE with 3 different names and were Intercontinental Champion.
Wow.
Yeah, he's on that top 10 list.
Hold on, Tyler. Have you ever seen him in Lucha Underground? He was a star, bro.
Bro, he was a beast, bro. John Morrison is a superstar they missed out on, if you ask me.
Yeah, at that list. And he wrestled on Lucha Underground, at Impact, and then he
WCPW.
He's on a list you have to say a long paragraph. Those
all right, let's move on. I'm tired of this. I can't deal with this.
Disrespectful.
I was there live for 2 matches, 2 different times when he had 2 different matches with Jeff Hardy. One being a ladder match, one being a Royal Heavyweight Championship match. And both were great.
I thought he had good matches with the. I think Morrison's really good. I think he's really underappreciated.
He
I did
is,
too.
but
I think he was a superstar that they could have did something with.
I think if we did like the top 10 teams of the Ruthless Aggression era, then they might be able to make the list.
Top 10, underappreciated, didn't get his full chance.
Dirty.
God damn.
Whose first name is John.
There's a lot of Johns you can throw out there. Okay. Are we not gonna talk about Jesse and Festus? Or am I gonna keep
No.
going?
No, we're not talking about no Jesse and Festus, bro.
Bro, they were live, bro. Come on.
Listen, Malik.
All right.
Malik. They had a theme song that didn't make any sense.
Biscuits and gravy, bro. Who don't like biscuits and gravy, bro? Come on, now.
Me.
Maybe a man.
Because
There's a
the
lot of
song
people
said
with
the
that.
song said now you stepped on my gravy. Now it's time to get mean. How can they step on
Yeah,
your
bro.
gravy?
You stepped on the gravy, bro.
It's
We
the
gotta
gravy
get
on the floor.
mean
It
now,
makes no
bro.
sense.
It's a country thing. You wouldn't understand.
It's the sauce.
This is your show. This is your show, so you make the rules, but I'm not saying anything else.
I'm putting him on. I think he should be on the list. That's his name.
What the?
I
Hold
got
up,
another
hold up,
tag
hold up.
team.
I want to hear this. Why should they be on the list, Malik?
Bro, they was tag team champions, bro. Come on now, bro.
So
They deserve to be on the list, bro.
Back to a top 10 tag team list. I want to put the British Bulldogs name out there.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good
Hold
one.
up, Conrad. Watch this. Malik, you said because Jesse and Festus were tag team champions, which they never were.
They were tag team champions.
They never won the
Yeah,
title.
I think they won the SmackDown belts.
I
Yeah,
don't
they
remember.
were SmackDown tag team champions. Yep.
And how come Heidenreich and Animal aren't on the list then?
They should be on the list too. Let's talk
Yo.
about them.
Yo,
Eminem.
chill. I'm not talking about anything hiding right on
Hey,
any list.
Hey, this is my guy right here. When you should do that, the
Hiding right. That was so cornball, man.
Greatest
So
team.
someone threatened my show the other day.
History. I love the greatest team in SmackDown history. You got A-Train and Nathan Jones.
Okay, I got another tag team that we really can talk about for real. Renee Dupree and Kento Suzuki. Come on.
And the wheels have fallen off the wagon, folks.
No, honestly, okay, no, real talk though. I could be wrong, but wasn't Law Resistance like a big tag team back in the day? Like weren't they like getting pushed really hard?
No, they got beat by the Rockers in 2005, bro. We're not even playing this game. Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty came back and whomped them. We got beat by the
They
Dudleys.
did have a high-profile spot with The Rock and Mick Foley on Raw.
Did the Rock and Mick Foley team up against them?
No, they didn't.
No, it was a segment.
It was a segment on TV. I'm talking about like in 03. They were like one of the best tag teams on Raw.
No, they
at that
weren't.
time.
Nah,
Yeah,
they-
that's another long list. The top 10 tag teams in 2003, month of August.
Oh,
Bro, we gotta talk about Jesse and Festus. I'm not going for that. We gotta
We're
talk-
not
You know
talking
what?
about. We're not talking about them. That's a no. Like I'll say it now. That's the big no.
Bro, that made Gallows' career before he was even Luke Gallows, man. Come on.
Listen,
now.
we're gonna end up talking about Jesse's dad before him. So we can,
They're on the top 10 tag teams one particular week on SmackDown for one day.
top 10 tag teams whose father was on the top 10 tag teams.
The name of the list keeps getting longer and longer.
Can we talk about my British Bulldogs though?
No, let's talk about Jesse and Festus. No.
Okay, tell me a great Jesse and Festus match that everybody should go see.
Oh man. Let's talk about British Bulldogs. Come on.
Look at him cracking up. The top 10 greatest tag teams who wrestled on Raw 1 week and were never seen again.
Woo.
See, y'all thought you said about Miz and Morrison. Miz and Morrison were the undisputed tag team champs at least.
Primo. About Carlito and Primo. Let's talk about them.
Yo, listen,
Top 10 teams up here on Superstars. Let's do that.
yo,
Stop.
the Colognes were over them, bro. The Colognes were better than
Oh shit.
the Jesse and
Oh, that was
Festus.
funny.
I'm talking about Carlito and Primo.
Primo.
Yeah.
What about Kane and Big Show? I'm talking about the original one in 06.
Yo, can we stop this now? Can we go back to the British Bulldogs, please? A serious team.
Legit. The British Bulldogs were a great team. They're in my maybes.
Yeah, I think they can make the maybe list for now.
The top
Oh
10
my God,
tag
that's
team
funny.
from the United Kingdom in 1992.
Yo, you're just respecting the Bulldogs now.
You got British Bulldogs down as a maybe.
Oh my
Right now,
god.
Jesse and Festus.
Fabulous, you're not. Fabulous Freebirds.
I have a headache. This is so funny. I love it.
I had to run around the room. That's how funny that was.
You said Fabulous Freebirds? Okay,
Yeah.
let's talk about Freebirds. I thought we had to talk about Freebirds. Did we not talk about them?
I thought they're not on the list, are they?
No, I thought we talked about. I thought somebody brought them up earlier.
I did.
With the New Day, they got brought up.
Yeah, they're there.
And Jesse's father is in this group, for the record. If you didn't know, Terry Gordy.
What about? Hold on, I got one, and I'm not joking. Money Inc.
Oh, that's not a joke. That's not a joke.
I know. I'm just saying in case you thought I was gonna make a joke.
No.
Inc. You don't think so, Conrad?
I don't think Money Inc.'s top 10 tag team.
Okay. What about the Wild Samoans?
Well, Samoans. Ooh, that's a good one, actually.
I was gonna put the Head Shrinkers over the Wild Samoans personally.
Speaking of superstars, I have a weird team that you might think that you probably wouldn't think about first, but when I say it, you'll be like,
Samoan SWAT team.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm gonna go with Owen Hart and Yokozuna.
I was really about to say that.
I like them as a tag team. I think they're under. I'm sorry. Here we go with the long tag team names again. Top 10 tag teams underappreciated during the New Generation era. Yes, but top 10 tag teams period. No.
What another tag team? I don't know. They're not in top 10. What about APA though?
You got who?
APA.
You can actually debate that.
Nah, if you're not gonna put, I can't put APA in the top 10 all time.
I think APA were great hands for the Attitude Era, but I don't think they're top 10. I think you put Hardy's, Edge, Christian, Dudley's all over them.
Okay, so about Wild Samoans, let's go back to that. I think I forgot about them actually. That's somebody brought those up.
That was really good to bring them up, man. That was a good job. I want to say yes, but I don't know enough.
Me too.
Same.
Blackjack. What's the other team called? The Blackjacks? Is that what they're called?
Yeah, the Blackjacks. Yeah. Again, I know they're historically good. I just never seen them work.
All right. Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 6 spots open since I marked out 1, 2 spots. Before we get into it,
no damn Jesse and Festus, bro.
I didn't bring up Jesse and Festus.
All right.
Don't get started on the list again.
Since we can't have Jesse and Festus, can we have the Highlanders at least?
Dude, the most thing they're recognized for is getting fired because they showed up at TNA, got their face shown like they were like
top 10 list they could be on. Top 10 teams that showed up on the show. On.
The Highlanders.
No, I got one. What about Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch?
Oh God.
Oh man, they held the tag titles way too long.
Bro, my favorite line, bro. Royal Rumble 06. I don't know why I remember this so much. I don't know why it's so funny to me. Trevor Murdoch comes out and JR was like, God damn, looks like a big puddle of milk. I don't know why I thought that was so funny, bro. I'll never forget that, man. I'll never forget that, man.
I don't know why that was funny.
That is funny. Oh my
God. It was either him or Jerry Lawler. I think it was Jerry Lawler. He said, God damn, looks like a big puddle of milk in his hand. I was like, dude, what?
Oh my God.
That's really funny.
I'll never forget that.
I gotta find it on YouTube.
Royal Rumble 06, bro. He's making his entrance. When he gets in the ring, Jerry Lawler's like, God damn, looks like a big puddle of milk.
All right, do we have any other tag teams to go on here? Brainbusters?
Oh, we got to talk about. I want to talk about some NXT tag teams too, though.
No one
Let me just make sure we haven't missed anybody else that's crazy high energy. Does anybody want to put them on this list? New Heart Foundation.
I'm gonna play that for you after the show, bro.
The body Donnas, Chronic, anybody?
I don't know about y'all, but that might have been the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Bro, I'm gonna play that Pacific line for you. I'm gonna play it.
A big puddle of milk. That is unbelievable.
He said you can tell he hasn't got on the sun. It looks like a big puddle of milk.
You said 06, Millie?
06, man.
Oh, that brought me to tears. That was so.
I'm gonna play it when I'm already on the network anyways. I'm gonna play it when the video is on.
Because you don't want to get a strike.
Oh, that was so good. Oh,
hold on, be quiet. Let's see what this is. No, not this. Yeah, they didn't show it. They showed him coming out though.
I'll play it when it's over. I promise you. I'm gonna play it when it's over.
Malik, that just made my whole day. That was
okay. We had to talk about some NXT. I want to talk about some NXT tag teams though. That won't make the list, but you gotta talk about them because they deserve to be on mentioned before they got ruined. the main roster curse. We talked about Revival, DIY, AOP, which I wasn't really big on them at first, honestly, but until afterwards.
No. Can I tell another weird story? So I usually do my predictions, man. And I was having contests at first for a little bit, like people who could go against me in the predictions. And I won most of the time. But can I tell you how close I came to losing because of the Authors of Pain? Authors of Pain made me lose every NXT prediction poll that I had by beating DIY. I picked DIY every single time. Then the one time I pick Authors of Pain, they lose the tag titles to who was it? Sanity. Dude, I was so heated, bro. I hate the Authors of Pain for life because of that. I'm like, the one time I pick you, you lose. You lose. I had a rant video and got mad views because of that.
I knew they were gonna lose.
There was another tag team in NXT that I really liked that never lasted long. TM61. I don't know why.
They were barely around.
They were, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They never took off, but I used to think they were really good. I thought they
were a good team. They had no oomph. I don't know.
Yeah. And they just got a good tag team. They got Street Profits.
They look like Nick Jr. too with the orange and blue. I don't know.
Yeah, it looked a little weird. All right. Let's go back to the main. We have 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we have 6 spots left. Let's go. Now here's what we do, Sean. We go to the maybes.
Okay.
It's time to cut because we got to be harsh. Let's narrow it down to 7.
How many maybes do we have?
We have 6 spots. So let's narrow it down to 7. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 maybes.
Let's get to 10 first, because this is gonna be rough.
Are we counting Spirit Squad in here too?
Wait, no. Did we talk about the Brain Busters? Is there anybody else that they want to add? Enzo and Cass.
Enzo and Cass very entertaining. I gotta give them that. Very entertaining.
They got overexposed.
No Revival, nothing else. Nobody wants to add anybody?
No, top 10, they wouldn't be on the top now.
Strike Force.
Jesse and Festus.
Shut up, Malik.
Strike Force over Jesse and Festus too.
All right, so let's go. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna name a name and you're just gonna vote yes or no if it's just saying that. So that's all you gotta do. Say yes or no. Hardy Boys. I'm voting yes.
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 Hart Family. Yes.
Foundation. Yes.
Yes.
New Age Outlaws. Yes.
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 The Outsiders.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll let it go into the next round, but but for now, yes.
Edge and Christian.
Oh my God.
As much as I want them to stay on the list,
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no.
I say yes for now.
But I want them to be on the list, but I don't think they're gonna make it. I'd probably say no because we're gonna have to kick some teams off anyway.
Yeah, I say yes reluctantly because it's tough.
So what do you say, Kyron? You said no. Kyron, what do you say?
Yes.
All right. Usos.
No, unfortunately.
No.
Rock and Roll Express.
Rock and Roll. Oh man. I give them the nod over Midnight, like I said earlier. Oh my God, I don't know.
I think it's a no, man. If we're thinking about it this much.
Yeah.
No, I don't think. I think it's a no.
Yeah, it's a hard.
Right, so if Rock and Roll Express is no, then Midnight Express is no too, then right?
Yeah, that's a no for me. Yeah.
Young Bucks.
No.
Yes.
Well, yeah, for now, but I don't think they're gonna be on the list.
What do you think, Sean?
No. I'll go no.
So we got it. So Conrad, you said yes, right?
Yes.
Wait, I want to make sure I heard you right. Who I want to make sure I said no to the. What were you talking about?
Young Bucks.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misheard you. I apologize. The Young Bucks are a yes.
All right, we'll keep them for now. Demolition.
Yes.
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 New Day.
That's a faction, so I'm gonna say no.
I'm gonna say yes to New Day.
Why do we count them on here if they said it was a faction? It's tag team.
Because the New Day and the Freebirds and that Freebird rule is completely different. DX never utilized that rule. They're still a tag team in my mind.
Well, if New Day's not making it, then Freebirds can't make it either.
I agree.
I don't agree with that. They did two different things for what they did. I feel the Freebirds never made it to a large enough stage for it to count. I mean, I don't want to diss Texas. I mean, that was what it was at the time, but I'm not familiar enough with the Freebirds' work to give it the compliment.
I'm not familiar enough with
WCW Tag Team Champions.
But that wasn't the real Freebirds to me. The real Freebirds, we're talking about the Freebirds with Jimmy Garvin.
And you're talking about the one with Buddy Rogers and
I think that's the real Freebirds from what I've seen on the documentaries. And they had the feud with the Von Erichs. It wasn't Jimmy Garvin. Jimmy Garvin came afterwards when they were just trying to make it work.
All right, so if we can't combine those two entities together, then I would say no.
I say no.
So that's a no for Freebirds?
Yeah, I think it's a no.
British Bulldogs?
Hard no.
Damn, hard no.
Hard no meaning
hard no because
they know.
They're kind of near the Rockers in my opinion too. They're probably a step above them, but I'm gonna give it to the Hart Foundation before the British Bulldogs.
Thank God.
All right, so we have 7. So let's see. Okay, let's start with the first one. Hart Foundation. Yes or no on the list?
I think they're on the list.
Wait.
I think they're on the list.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we put them on the list.
All right, hold on. Put them on the list.
Yeah.
Hardy Boys.
I think they stay for now.
I think they stay for now.
We just got to cut one team now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're cutting one team.
Yeah.
I'll say they stay for the moment.
Yeah, I say stay.
New Age Outlaws.
Yeah, they
can stay.
They make it.
Let's see. So I put Hart Foundation on the list, so they're on the list. So we have 5 spots left.
Okay.
Outsiders.
Can I pass? Can I pass?
I'm gonna go no.
I want to take a pass. Like, can we?
I want to wait and see who they would have to go against.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Edge and Christian.
Yes.
Hold on. This is tough. This is going to be my battle, I think, right here. Is it the Outsiders or Edge and Christian who need to be on here?
Edge and Christian for me.
Edge and Christian is historically a far better tag team. Don't think about, well, I'm not going to tell you what to think, but I'm not going to think about the historical significance of the NWO in this decision. I'm thinking about the Outsiders. They were great, but I'm thinking about the Outsiders team on team against Edge and Christian as a tag team. I give the nod to Edge and Christian.
Edge and Christian for the better matches for TLC.
I go Edge and Christian.
Okay, so Edge and Christian on the list.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, hold on. See, now I got to debate something. If we put Edge and Christian on the list, there's no way I'm leaving the Hardy Boys off the list.
That's fair.
Well, they're going to make it probably. There's only one team that can be cut.
We said yes to the Hardy Boys, right?
Yeah.
So Hardy Boys on the list.
Yeah.
I think so.
I'm putting Hardy Boys on the list.
There's only one team that needed to be cut, right?
Is New Age Outlaws on the list? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, hold on. Outlaws. Okay, the last 3 teams we got are Outsiders, Young Bucks, and Demolition.
How many spots are left?
2.
I'm gonna go Demolition's on the list.
Demolition makes it.
Demolition makes it.
Yep.
Sean?
So Demolition makes it.
Okay, hold on. Let me write that down real quick. Okay, then we have Young Bucks and the Outsiders.
Young Bucks.
God.
If we put the Young Bucks on the list, we're gonna be so many people are gonna call us a bunch of smart marks and everything.
I don't care. Watch AEW, bro, because it's better than Raw.
We're talking about top 10 greatest tag teams of all time, though. All-time tag teams.
This list comes down. This one last spot comes down to. This is it, right? It's either the Outsiders or the Young Bucks.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it's down to. Everybody else got voted out.
I will give the slightest of edges to the Young Bucks.
Malik, who do you think?
Me personally, I don't want to put them on the list, but I think we're going to get outvoted, so I think we got to take the L on this one.
I mean, who would you want on there instead?
I would put over the Young Bucks.
And no, we're not putting Jesse Effect, so don't say it.
Kick you right off your own show, bro.
I feel like I don't know. I just feel like it's too early for them to be on the top 10 greatest of all time. I'm talking about greatest tag teams ever, like ever in history.
Ring of Honor tag champs, House of Glory. I don't even know IWGP. They've got PWG titles. House of Glory. They've had titles from everywhere, dude.
They're the current AAA tag team champions.
They're good, man. I think we may even be talking about the Lucha Bros on this list eventually.
The problem is, I admit it's a problem because it's only 51% to 49 in my opinion. But the reason why it's tough is because the Bucks have never been WWE Tag Team Champions. They've never been WCW Tag Team Champions. They've never been ECW Tag Team Champions. They've never held the titles from one of the three major promotions. So
were they TNA Tag Team Champions?
Let me ask you this question. Here's what it comes down to for me. Name the last tag team that was on the independent scene that was a huge draw that you could put in any main event?
I said that earlier. The Bucks can be a main event of a major pay-per-view. That's why I give them the nod. I do give.
They can. They really can. That's true. They can.
I think Hall and Nash would have to be part of the NWO as a faction, as a team, to get that same nod. I mean, and singles-wise, they could main event pay-per-views themselves. I just think Hall and Nash weren't as good of a tag team as the Young Bucks.
Give me one team that you, again, I know I'm being repetitive, but I just want to drive it home. Give me one team that you know could legitimately main event a pay-per-view. The Young Bucks.
I don't know, bro. I can't. Top 10 greatest tag teams ever, like ever of all time. All time.
All right. Let's do it like that. You have to book. You get two teams. Who do you put in the main event to sell out your pay-per-view? You have to get like numbers.
Are we talking about like any tag team of all time, or just like right now?
Yeah, and not any tag team of all time, but it can't be like a team like, I'll pick, Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan. It has to be a real team.
Well, definitely the Dudley Boys, no question.
The Dudley Boys can main event a pay-per-view?
Yes, they're one of the best tag teams ever.
I think so.
Okay, well, we can agree to disagree on that.
I think any three. I think Hardy's, Dudley's, or Eddie Christian, all three of those guys can main event a pay-per-view if they need to. Those three alone could have been the main event of SummerSlam that year.
Well, I guess I wouldn't spend, if I saw the Dudley Boys on the marquee for the main event of a pay-per-view, I probably wouldn't spend my money on it, but that's just my opinion. I agree they're all-time great, don't get me wrong.
But if we told you it was a TLC match,
I'd sign up for that. But see what that point you just made, CK, is exactly my point. I would pay for the Dudley Boys to be in a TLC match for a main event of a pay-per-view. I would pay for the Young Bucks to be in a regular match on a pay-per-view. Mm-hmm.
But see, there's the only other tag team I think, even though they're in WWE, with the Usos, but they're in WWE. I think they can main event a pay-per-view if they were outside. If they were in the Indies, they would be just as hot as the Young Bucks.
The problem is, here's the difference too. The Usos haven't gotten the opportunity to do it. The Young Bucks have done it.
That's true too. I mean, that's his factor. He just brought up who could main. I think they could main event a tag team, like legit. Like if that would be the. I think that's the one tag team that if people were like, who would you want the Young Bucks face? People would say the Usos.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a star-powered match though. And you know who else we didn't bring up too on this list? The Briscoes. I forgot about them.
Man, that's a good one too. But once again, I don't know enough.
Legacy? No, they weren't in something. They're really good.
I did love Legacy's theme though.
It's
a new day.
I like how they faced each other, all three of them at WrestleMania.
Yeah, they blew that match.
Yeah,
you're right.
Excuse me, Kyle. What do you think about Young Bucks? Top 10 or yes or no?
You said me?
Yeah.
See, I don't watch enough of the Young Bucks to really judge them.
You didn't see Double or Nothing though, right?
I told you I hadn't seen it.
Dude, I'm after this we're gonna talk offline.
Yeah, you gotta watch it, man.
So
you gotta watch it.
So
you have to watch it.
Let me put it like this: at that Double or Nothing pay-per-view, I thought the match of the night was Cody and Dustin. But if you had to ask me what the second best match was, and some people said this was the best match when I was watching
the Young Bucks match was the best match.
Young Bucks and Lucha Bros, they said was the best match, bro. These dudes delivered on all aspects. I mean, you could get finicky and say, I don't like the kicking out. I don't like them doing the too sweet, and they look like the Hardy Boys and stuff. They took stuff from all their favorite tag teams, and they just made it work, and now it's them.
Let me give you guys another thing just to kind of make you guys think more about whether or not the Bucks are greatest of all time. Take two single stars. Take Rock and Austin, right? And put them in a main event match but it has to be against a real tag team. Give me Rock and Austin in their prime against the Young Bucks in their prime. Any day of any week.
I don't know if that would work.
I think it would.
I think it would work. I think it would sell out any arena in the world.
We don't have two different opinions on that one, but
you don't think the Bucks could hang with them? I think they would make them look phenomenal. I mean, obviously, Rock and Austin are gonna eat a stunner, rock bottom people's elbow, sharpshooters, probably all that. But I think that they could make this look like exciting at the same time. Like, listen, just sit here for this. I'm gonna take good care of you. Just let it happen, though.
I love the Young Bucks. I just think it's too early to be discussing them as top 10 greatest tag teams of all time.
I think the Young Bucks and Usos are both right there. Is the weird thing. When you look at the Usos, there's dream matches for both of them. Like I said, I want to see the Usos fight the Guerrillas of Destiny. I want to see the Young Bucks fight them too. There are teams salivating to fight both of them on the other side. I just think the Bucks have been around longer, though, and I think that they have the longevity and they've proven that they can main event a pay-per-view. I know people aren't going to like that. It's not a popular opinion, but I think the Young Bucks have solidified themselves as a top 10 bottom tier team.
This objective discussion has come down to a 10 or 11 Bucks versus outsiders. So you're saying the Bucks, and I understand where you're coming from. You're saying the Bucks are too young in the game to be considered one of the greatest tag teams of all time. Combine that with the fact that's valid, but combine that with the fact the outsiders work, because you can't say they were a team before they came to WCW. So from May of '96 until I guess 99, was that body of work better than the Young Bucks?
Well, when we take into account that body of work, that helped change the industry. So
no, the NWO changed the industry,
but I think it's kickstarted it.
I think you could say the same thing is happening right now, though, right before your eyes. I don't know if you realize the importance of what's happening with the Elite, but they are changing wrestling.
And don't get it twisted. I'm an old school guy, man. I'm 33 years old. I love the outsiders, but I got to give the nod to the Bucks over the outsiders, though. All-time great tag teams.
Yeah, I'll go with the Bucks. Now, watch. If this video goes viral, we're gonna get hella hate for saying that.
Sure will. We sure will. I don't want to put them on there, but I'll put them on there. I don't think they're top 10 greatest tag teams.
I agree with what you said.
I mean, listen, I'm willing to hear anybody that got cut over them.
I mean, first of all, I don't think the outsider shit was going on there either. I was comparing.
Okay, so talk to me. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm comparing them with the Usos. The Usos are the only team that I would compare them with.
I think the Usos could be on there just as much as the Bucks.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But it came down to the outsiders and Young Bucks. I'm taking the Bucks over them.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like I thought it came down to the Bucks and Hall and Nash.
It did.
Yeah. So like that's the debate. I didn't know if there's other teams in play. We could talk about that too.
Did the Usos make it or did they get cut?
They got cut.
No, you guys said you wanted to cut them.
They weren't looking good at the time. They weren't looking good. I mean,
you can't give the nod. I love the Usos. You can't give the nod to the Usos over the Young Bucks, can you?
I think that main event factor that you said is a very good point, though. Like
that's debatable, bro. I tell you, you could put, like I said, if you ask anybody out there, what tag team would you want the Young Bucks face? They're gonna say the Usos. If you ask the Usos, hey, what tag team? If you ask, hey, what dream match tag team would you want the Usos face? People are gonna say the Young Bucks. And that could be a match, like a legit match. You wouldn't know who wins. Like I'm saying, if the Usos weren't in WWE and they were in the Indies, they'd be just as hot as the Young Bucks, if you ask me.
Really?
because they'd be able to do their own thing. They were especially imagine the characters they could do like if they had full control of their own stuff.
But I feel like the Young Bucks were part of the Bullet Club, the Elite. Like that stuff's big, man. That was some
Big
really
now, yeah.
Yeah, but the Usos. Here's the thing: the Usos' body of work is limited to WWE and Booker T's wrestling school because that's where you decided to go. I'm not faulting them for that, but you didn't main event shows. These dudes main evented shows for Ring of Honor, PWG.
But that's the thing. First of all, we know that Vince's not going to put a tag team match as a main event. You know what I mean?
He has though.
Not nowadays. He's not.
Yeah, no, I agree with Malik on that one.
I'm comparing. Look, if you put the Usos in the indie scenes, they will be just as hot as the Young Bucks. They would be the legit two best teams in the world.
That is true, but this isn't based off if. This is what happens and what is happening.
I'm just making an argument of that case. I'm just making that point.
Okay, let me ask you something. Let me ask you this, because I think you're understanding where we're coming from. I just think that I like the Usos too, so I get it.
I understand the point.
When you think about the Bucks, would you consider them to be a transcendent, historically significant tag team?
Yes.
Would you consider the Usos to be a historically significant tag team?
No, because they've been in WWE and they've
So there you go, bro.
I'm looking at it from tag team like wrestling wise though. That's what I'm looking at. Like both tag teams can go on the mic and in the ring.
Well, there's a lot of teams that can go, but
I think the Usos are better than them on the mic.
Yeah, and there's a lot of teams that can go, but that's not what that's not what it's all about.
That's part of it though.
Sure it is. But like the Revival are awesome, and look at the crap they're doing on TV, and they're the Raw Tag Team Champions, and we still think they're being underused.
That's because then we fucked them over.
Yeah,
but they haven't been around. The Usos and the Young Bucks been around for a minute. You know what I mean? They've been around for at least over 10 years now.
The Young Bucks have been talked about for years, bro. Years. Like I remember when they were just little punk kids, super skinny dudes, no muscles.
When did people really start talking about them? Like really, really start talking about them?
I would say 2010.
Ring of Honor.
2009, 20 when they were in like that TNA Ring of Honor.
Generation Me, yeah, that's the first time I ever heard of those guys. Generation Me. I didn't when they were in Generation Me, I didn't know about the whole Young Bucks thing until after they left, and then they started doing until afterwards. And that's when I started figuring things out.
When did you start thinking all that good stuff about the Usos though? See, to me, that didn't come until they were doing those matches with like the Shield around Money in the Bank.
I always liked the Usos when they first came in, but I really didn't think they were legit until like they started having like the Wyatt family and Shield and all that stuff. I remember that match they had the Wyatt family and Money in the Bank. Where I was like, like Money in the Bank Battleground had those two great matches. But I always thought I always looked at those guys and said, these two could be a great tag team. You know what I mean? Like the brother tag teams always work. If you ask me, they're always good, and they're twins, so it just makes a lot of sense.
Usos didn't really hit their stride though until 2016.
Yeah, I think they caught it later. And they're a great team. I got the Bucks for longevity, main event, who draws money. Would the Usos be selling shirts at Hot Topic? Like, dude, that's unprecedented in the wrestling world to be another from somewhere else in New Japan and you're selling shirts here in the States at some little dude. Nobody goes into Hot Topic, but wrestling fans were going in there to buy those shirts.
Oh, I did. I'm guilty of it. I bought a couple.
See,
I don't know, man. I already put them on the list, but I just top 10 wise.
All I'm gonna keep saying is, give me a better team.
I think the Usos can make the argument for it. To be honest,
you think? But that's what I'm trying to say. Like, and again, I want to make sure.
That's just my opinion. I'm just saying it came down to the outsiders.
I feel what I'm saying is, again, I want to be clear. I love the Usos, but are the same problem you're having with the Bucks being so young in the game, being considered an all-time top 10 tag team? That's kind of the same issue I'm having with the New Day. With the Usos.
That's fair enough too. I mean, I don't know. I feel like there are a lot of tag teams that.
Like, are the Usos better than the Head Shrinkers?
I mean, Rock and Roll Express, that's a legendary tag team right there itself.
I would say yes, and that's no disrespect to Samu and Fatu.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, that's, what I'm trying to say? Like, there's a lot of teams, man, are the Usos better than the Nasty Boys, historically?
Yes.
Okay, but you said that kind of quick. I think it's a little tougher than that.
I think the Nasty Boys are a decent team. I don't think they're a great team.
Okay,
You know what I mean? I don't see star power behind them. I would go if you had to ask me who I would trust in a main event match more, like on a house show even. I say give me the Usos over the Nasties.
That's fair.
Yeah, me too.
That's fair.
All right, here's the top 10 list that we got. We have the Dudley Boys, we have Road Warriors, Hart Foundation, Edge and Christian, Harlem Heat, Snyder Brothers, Hardy Boys, New Age Outlaws, Demolition, and the Young Bucks.
I am not mad at that list, guys.
Yeah, me neither.
Not either.
Alrighty.
Honorable mention to the Bulldogs and to the Usos and to many others.
And Jesse and Festus. Shout out to Jesse and Festus.
Jesse and Festus. Biscuits and gravy.
Top 10 greatest tag teams on SmackDown on a random July.
Top 10 best tag teams in a video game that didn't have the song feature, but you could program it into the game.
All right. I'm going to let you guys shout out your channels. Let people know where they can follow you, where they subscribe. We'll start with Conrad, then go to Sean, then go to Kyron.
All right, good. I've been waiting to do this all day, folks. Conrad Cushman from Everything Pro Wrestling. Everything Pro Wrestling is a show by the fans. Wait for it. For the fans. And you guys can subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am 8 subscribers away from 400. Make that happen for me, people. I'm this close. Help me out. And we're trying to get to 500 before SummerSlam. And just released some podcasts this week as well. I did One Night Stand review for ECW on my personal podcast, and on Brainbuster Radio, I did Great American Bash. Malik, thank you for having me on.
Go ahead, Sean.
First and foremost, thank you, Malik, for having me on. I'm humbled by the invite. I appreciate it very much, my brother. HubbardWrestlingWeekly.com, y'all. You know what I'm saying? My podcast is doing well. I call it the very best up-and-coming professional wrestling podcast anywhere in the world, man. That's just me speaking into existence. Getting a little bit of fire underneath me, man. Doing pretty well. Just covered Bellator 222 live from Madison Square Garden. Got some exclusive content. Listen, I'm getting a lot of love on iTunes, a lot of love on my website, but I'm getting no love. I'm humble enough to be honest. I'm getting no love on YouTube. Please show my YouTube channel some love. Put it in the search box, Hubbard Wrestling Weekly. I'm not hard to find. You'll see exclusive interviews with Chael Sonnen as he announced his retirement after Bellator 222. The Bellator welterweight champion of the world, Rory McIlroy. All the wrestling content, all the MMA, all the boxing. Check me out, show me some love, and I'll be sure to do it in return. Once again, Malik, thank you so much for the invite.
Go ahead, Kyron. You're last.
Follow me on Twitter, /BroKyron, Instagram, /Bro_Kyron. Tumblr, DeviantArt, Kyron Chase, YouTube account, Kyron Chase. I do videos on Wrestling Sonic the Hedgehog, My Pony Friends Magic. I do reactions from time to time. I might start doing some new stuff. I know I haven't uploaded in a while.
All right, you guys. I appreciate you guys for being my guests during the debate. We'll have a debate again next week like we always do. Make sure you guys go show the guys some love on their channels. Make sure you guys, for you wrestling fans, go check out their stuff. They got some great quality stuff. And we'll see you next week with the brand new debate.